Welcome back to Zelda II, The Adventure of Link. You'll see that right now I'm walking on water, and that's because of the boots that I just got in the last palace here in the Maze Palace. So I'm actually going to be making my way over to the next palace right now, the Ocean Palace. And again, you can use the boots to walk on water, but there's a specific path you have to follow. You can't just walk on any water tile. So you kind of have to follow the path pretty specifically. And there's not really any clues on how to do it. You just kind of have to mash your arrow keys around. But if you remember, one of the townspeople said that there was a heart in the middle of the ocean, and he's referring to this heart container over here. It's obviously in the middle of the ocean. So that's the second to last heart container we can get in this game. And from here, instead of just going straight down to the Ocean Palace, you have to make your way around this path and just kind of find it. And then finally you can get in here. And this is the Ocean Palace. So the snakes are back over here. Get some bubbles to farm experience. Pretty fast to kill now with the level 8 sword. And here you have to use the fairy spell to get up there. The jump spell doesn't do it. And you have to be very careful with these bubbles because they'll smack you out of fairy. And there's another bubble right there, so just be patient while going through there. And then you saw me skip the key because you can't get it as a fairy, so you have to leave the screen, come back in, destroy this bubble for experience, and then you can get the key that was up here. But not without killing the bubble first, of course. Alright, once I have the key, I can finally continue onwards. It's another falling bridge here, and this time it has these wolf heads, so just be careful when you're jumping. You can risk it and get that points bag, but if you hesitate or take too long, you'll fall into the lava and die. Burn up. So obviously you can see this little shower here. If the dot is red, it's nothing, but if it drops a blue dot, it'll turn into a bot. It's pretty nice stained glass over here. And that enemy right there is called the Sorcerer. He kind of looks like the Wizrobe, but not really, and he shoots a little flame that stays on the ground. Unlike the Wizrobe, which just shoots that sonic boom kind of looking thing that you can reflect with a reflect spell. Over here, obviously, there's blocks falling everywhere, and you kind of want to make a staircase to get this key. But you want to be careful that you don't get smacked by the falling blocks. And over here, you'll see that these blocks are some sort of anti-gravity contraption. They don't fall down once you smack down the foundation from underneath them. Interesting stuff. I don't know why they put orange iron knuckles in this dungeon, because they're just a complete joke now. One hit, they're dead. And it seems like Link has outscaled them by this point in the game. But there's a ton of them over here. At least this one dropped magic, so I can refill my magic. So right now you can see I'm level 8 for the sword, 7 for the magic, and 7 for the health. So my sword's maxed out, and I only need 1 level in magic and health to max those out too. So I'm almost full, pretty much. It's a good idea to kill those sorcerers, because they give 200 experience each, as you saw, so that's a ton. But I'm not too worried about experience here, because just like I said, I'm almost maxed out on everything, so I'm not really going too much out of my way to get stuff. Even though I did just waste some magic to get those 200 points and that point bag up there. I'm I'm not sure if you need to use the jump spell here. You might be able to make that jump without having to use it, but I just went ahead and did it anyways. So yeah, these sorcerers are annoying because the little flames just stay there, and it's kind of annoying to have to jump over them and stuff. Especially when there's enemies around, it's just kind of awkward sometimes. So here's another blue iron knuckle. These guys suck. And here you remember one of the townspeople said that the palace has a fake wall, and this is one of the references to that, in that there's a fake wall there and you can walk right through it. And it's kind of lame because if you just hold right, it's going to feel just like a normal wall because there's a little ledge at the bottom, so that if you keep holding right you won't move forward, so you think there's nothing there, you actually have to jump onto it, which is tricky. Tricky in the sense that if you don't know about it, it would be very difficult to discover on your own, even with the hint about fake walls. Some Stalfos again. As always, these Stalfos are one of my favorite Zelda enemies. Stalfos make an appearance in almost every Zelda game, and I enjoy fighting them for some reason. I think they're cool. I also like the Gibdos, the mummy-looking guys. You'll see them in several Zelda games, not in this one though. They were in the first game. Alright, so there's a ton of enemies here. It can be pretty difficult with the little fires that the sorcerer spawns and then all these wolf heads, and there's not that much room to move around or jump because of these blocks up here, so you just kind of have to be careful. Right now I'm just trying to run through it as fast as I can, just so I don't have to deal with any bad things that might happen there. And there's another blue iron knuckle here guarding the secret item of this dungeon. This is the flute, and there are two uses for it if you'll remember. One of the townspeople said that the river devil dislikes noise, so you can use the flute to get rid of him over there. And also the next palace, the hidden palace, you unlock it by playing the flute at a specific location. And this is reminiscent of the first Zelda game, in which we opened the 7th dungeon by playing the whistle, which is a similar item, at a fairy fountain. And if we play the whistle there in the first game, the dungeon opened. And likewise over here, if you play the flute at a specific screen, the hidden palace will reveal itself. Here's that fake wall I went through earlier. I'm just backtracking now, because now since I have the item, I can make my way to the boss and place the 5th crystal into the statue. So again, be sure you're trying to manage your experience so that you can get as much as possible when you place that crystal in the statue. Over there in that past screen, you saw there was a ton of sorcerers, and they each give 200 each, so it might be worth your while to just stick around there and just patiently kill them all as they pop up. Over here, there's nothing that you need to get. There's just this points bag for more experience. I wanted to show that in case you need experience. But be careful when you're breaking the blocks, because that bubble can shoot out at high velocity towards you and just destroy you. So just kind of watch where it's moving. And I mentioned this in one of the other videos, but I haven't brought it up in a while, but you can control where these bubbles move by moving your horizontal location. The bubbles will kind of bounce off the edges of the screen. So you have some control over it that way. This screen can be a little tricky too because of the sorcerers, the little flame and the bubble, not much room to jump. So just be careful. Get the points bag, of course. And this place kind of sucks because there's some iron knuckles here, but not much room for you to jump, so it can be kind of difficult to fight them. Especially right here, this blue iron knuckle, you have to fight him without jumping. Of course, you could break the blocks above you, but I feel like that's more trouble than just beating up on him. But it's a difficult fight, just kind of be patient with it. And he's guarding a key that we need to progress further along in the dungeon. And I stubbornly try to go up here just to fight that red iron knuckle. It's an extra 100 experience points, and it only takes a hit to kill with a level 8 sword. You could use the jump spell here and just jump up on these platforms. It might make it easier to walk across so you don't have to deal with the sorcerers or the bubbles. But either way works. Over here's another points bag to the left, so that's what I'm showing. Just for the sake of completion, and in case anybody's following this as a walkthrough and they need some extra experience points here and there. But once again, you can always farm the bubbles by entering and leaving the screen over and over again, and then just using the downward thrust on them. Pretty easy way to farm up. Alright, so that one has 200 points in it. It's a good chunk. So now I can head upwards and continue along. Another blue iron knuckle. I believe this is the third one I fought already in this palace. So always be using your shield spell if you're taking a lot of hits. Just be careful. Do what you gotta do, you know? And the red ones obviously are a joke compared to the blue ones. But here's the boss. His name is Guma. He's one of the harder bosses. The timing is hard to get. What you want to do is you want to hit him and then you want to run back and jump. The timing is very awkward. But if you practice, you can get pretty good at it and you won't take a hit. But you can see I did a terrible job managing my experience points here. This boss is going to give me 500 experience points, put me at 3942, so I'm only going to get 58 points from that. So I did a terrible job managing that. Hopefully you did better. So thanks for watching and join me for the next video.